Hey guys, I'm Elise. Welcome to my YouTube channel, 10 to Life, where we talk everything true crime related in under 10 minutes. Full cases, start to finish. Cut through all the fluff, all the storylines you don't care about, and really just get into the meat of the case. All the crazy gory details, all of the insane turns and twists. Go through everything, start to finish, under 10 minutes. So if you like what you hear, you like what you see, subscribe below, comment, share, do whatever it is you want to do, and I would love to hear from you. So to kick this off, this is my very first episode, and I felt like what better episode to do than the infamous Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. I have my own, I just can't. So if you follow me on TikTok, like that plug, you know that I do 60-second recaps of all of these cases too, with like the highlights of the most crazy details. Well, this bitch, I've had to actually do 4 so far, which hasn't even scratched the surface of what I want to share. And that actually is why I've gone and created this YouTube channel, so I can talk about it. So I feel like we're in the moment now. They just had a key update as of yesterday. We're going to take it back to the very beginning for those of you who have never heard about this case, which I don't know how that's even possible unless you're living under a rock, but we're going to take it back to the beginning. So in 2006, Lori meets Charles Vallow, and they fall in love, they get married. Lori had a few other kids from her previous marriages, but specifically Tylee, who was her daughter, she brought in when she married Charles. 7 years after they got married, they also adopted little baby JJ, who was Charles' grandnephew. Okay, so they had Tylee and JJ. Everything is happy. They live in Chandler, Arizona. They're living the dream. They have this beautiful house. They have their kids. What could go wrong? I'm going to tell you what went wrong. Lori joined a Doomsday cult, like the world is ending kind of cult. And it was led by a man named Chad Daybell. He has written all sorts of books about these near-death experiences he's had, how he talks to God, how he sees the afterlife, and how the world is going to be ending, all of these crazy theories. And she joins his cult. Well, what's the quintessential thing that happens when a woman joins a cult? They fall in love with the cult leader, right? A few months later, she is fully immersed in this. Like, she believes it. She thinks she's one of the chosen ones, too, that's going to continue on after the world ends. All these insane beliefs. And her husband, Charles, sees this, and he's like, okay, you're a little batshit crazy, let's just say it. So he ends up in February of 2019 deciding to file for a divorce. He said, I just can't get on board with this type of lifestyle. You're starting to scare me. You're talking all sorts of crazy. She was talking about how she saw zombies, like all this weird stuff, right? Not only that, but she also thought that the end of the world was going to be July 2020. And I mean, we've had coronavirus, murder hornets, all this shit, so maybe, I don't know, maybe she's onto something. He also said that she viewed herself as a god and was preparing for the second coming of Christ, and that if he got in the way of her mission, she was going to kill him. So Charles was going to dip out, basically. He was like, we ain't doing this. Except then something must have happened, because he said, you know what, I'm going to stick around, let's try to make the marriage work. We have the kids. Let's just see what we can do. So after they decide to make the marriage work, Lori actually takes Tylee and dips out to Hawaii for 2 months that February. She was gone and nobody could get in touch with her, and she just up and left and took Tylee. She comes back, there's a rift, there's still tension, not officially divorced, but he decides he is going to move forward with the divorce proceedings, and they're just kind of living life, playing things out. So this was April. Fast forward to June, and we're going to go a little bit of a sidebar here now and talk about Lori's family, so just stay with me. So that June, Melanie, who is Lori's niece and who was also a part of the cult, I should mention, demanded a divorce from her husband, Brandon. Brandon was shocked. He thought that she had been a little off and acting a little weird since joining this cult, but overall he was like, what the hell's going on? I thought we were happy. They continue moving along, doing their thing. Lori has always been pretty close with her brother too. She has a big family, but she's very, very close bond with her brother, which kind of starts to get weird, and you'll see why. Now we're in July. Alex, her brother, actually shoots Charles.
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law, and I shot him in self-defense.
Estranged husband of his sister Lori. Police respond to the home, and Cox walks out with his hands up.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know. He was enraged. Or my sister. He was getting physical with her, and so my niece came out with her bat, and then he took the bat away from her.
Wait a minute, I thought you said your niece left.
She did. This is before.
Lori notifies Charles' other kids from his previous marriage. The way she notifies them is through a text message. Hey, wanted to let you know your dad died. Hold on though. It gets weirder, if you can believe that. The day Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, that day, Lori throws a pool party at Charles' house. Like, are you, what? How is that normal behavior? Apparently the party was so fun and so loud that neighbors even called in a noise complaint. Like, literally your husband was just murdered by your brother. Probably not the best time to be having a pool party. She also didn't plan any funeral services, any sort of memorial. She didn't write an obituary. And when his family took over and actually started scheduling everything, they begged her to allow JJ, their adopted son, to come mourn his father, and she wouldn't let him go. She would not let him go to his own father's funeral. So the next month, she does what any woman does who's in love with their cult leader and just lost their husband. She picks up the kids and she moves to Idaho, where the cult leader lives. And not only does she move with her 2 kids, but she takes her brother, Alex Cox, with her, and also her niece, Melanie, who wanted to divorce her husband just the month prior. All these cult people just migrating to the cult leader's state. So now we're going to fast forward a little bit into October, and we're going to circle back, but first we have to get here before we can go back to that information. Brandon, Melanie's husband, or ex-husband I should say, reports that somebody tried to shoot him and the bullet missed his head by inches. Which she's like, what are you talking about? I have no enemies. Why is somebody trying to shoot me? Days later, 7 days later to be exact, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, which if I didn't say that earlier, he's married, said somebody tried to shoot her with a paintball gun in her driveway while she was sitting in her car. That's a pretty big coincidence, right? A 7-day spread apart. 2 spouses are reporting that they were attempted to be shot in the head. Nothing happens. She's not harmed. She's not hurt. But 10 days later, Tammy dies in her sleep. They say it was from natural causes, but the family refuses to do an autopsy. She's laid to rest 10 days after somebody tried to shoot her. This is crazy town. But oh wait, it gets crazier. 2 weeks after Tammy Daybell dies, Chad's wife, he and Lori get married on the beach in Hawaii 2 weeks later. Sounds pretty convenient, right? Get this. The wedding ring that she's wearing on her finger was purchased back in October from her dead husband's Amazon account. She bought the ring from her dead husband's account, which is just like in poor, tacky-ass taste. But she bought the ring before Tammy was even dead. So obviously, they knew she was going to die, or they had a vision from God, I don't know. The end of November rolls around a few weeks later, and they're back in Idaho and, living their happy married life. And JJ's family decides to do a welfare check on him because they haven't heard from him in a while, and they're concerned. So they call the Rexenberg police, and they say, hey, we haven't seen him, and we haven't heard from him, and we're concerned. So the police come to do the welfare check, and Lori says, oh no, he's with his friend, he's staying at his friend's house out of state, everything's fine, they're just overreacting. Well, come to find out, he was never staying with those friends when they were contacted. So where is JJ? Where is Tylee? Nobody has heard from them. In fact, the last time that they actually heard from them was 2 months prior. There was a photo of them on a trip to Yellowstone with their uncle Alex Cox and the family, and also that they saw JJ on a ring cam, a doorbell cam, at the end of September. But since then, nothing. After finding out the information from the friends that JJ was in fact not there, they actually got a search warrant. So the next morning, they went back to Lori and Chad's house and said, okay, look, we need to search your house. We're looking for JJ. What's going on? Here's the kicker. They weren't there. Immediately following the welfare check, they bounced and they were out of there. Everything's starting to look a little suspicious at this point. So police decide to exhume Tammy's body, Chad's wife. Something just isn't adding up here. That was December 11th. Guess what happened December 12th? Alex Cox, Lori's brother, died. They say natural causes, they say a heart attack. Speculation is that Tammy and Alex were both poisoned, but very conveniently, the day after Tammy's body is exhumed, he somehow mysteriously dies of natural causes, which, by the way, he was a young guy and in perfect health. At this point, Chad and Lori are back in Hawaii, and enough is enough, so on January 25th, the police serve Lori with an order to produce the children. You have 1 week to produce the children, bring them, otherwise we're going to arrest you. So what happens? The 5-day deadline comes and she does not produce the kids. Meanwhile, the police had been gathering all sorts of evidence and intel as to what's been going on behind the scenes, and they had discovered that back in October, she actually got a storage unit back in Idaho. Paperwork showed that she got the storage unit the first week of October, which was the same week both of the attempted shootings happened, and a week and 2 weeks after the last known sighting of the kids. And they found all of the kids' belongings in there. Bikes, photos, blankets with pictures of them. I mean, memories that you have with your children that your children have made in a storage unit. You're not even going to take them with you if you're moving to Hawaii. On February 21st, Lori is finally arrested, and she is charged with felony, child abandonment, obstruction, and refusing a court order. But here's the kicker. She still didn't share. She continued to just be silent. Chad, her now husband, didn't share anything. Family was pleading with Lori, please tell us where the kids are. Her own son on national news. Please, Mom, just tell us where they are. We just want them safe. We just want them found. Please, we're so worried. Nothing. Not a word. Nothing. Lori is still awaiting trial. Her trial is scheduled for July to face these charges. Still no word on where the kids' whereabouts are. until 2 days ago. Police had a search warrant and went and searched Chad Daybell's property in Idaho, and guess what they found? Human remains. And he was arrested, but not arrested and charged with anything relating to the murder or to any sort of kidnapping or anything like that. He was charged with tampering with evidence, which is such a minor charge, and it usually only holds a maximum of 5 years. So really, max he could get was 10 years for both counts once they determined that it was 2 sets of remains. I actually watched his hearing live because I've been so invested in this case, and I was like, I need to know what's going on. And it was so interesting to me because, of course, the prosecutor said, no, we need to set bail at $1 million. This guy is a flight risk. He has not been cooperating. His wife is on trial for child abandonment. Like, there's something going on here. His defense attorney said these charges, they are tampering with evidence, they don't carry much weight, it doesn't warrant a $1 million bail. If anything, it should be $50,000 for each count, totaling to a $100,000 bail. They haven't released the details of how the remains were disposed of, not yet anyway. However, when the prosecutor was discussing bail and saying he wanted to set it at $1 million, he did say that the reason it also was warranted to be such a high bail amount was because of the manner in which the remains were disposed of. And he said it was so grotesque and so disturbing that it warrants the high $1 million bail. And that just makes me sick to my stomach and infuriated, because it's this woman, it's your children, it's children in general, but this woman, you are their mother. It is your kids. Like, what are you even thinking? And I'm a little nervous for when those details get released, because as a mom, I don't know that I'm going to be able to stomach it. So the judge hears all this and he sides with the prosecutor, and he's like, no, I know this kid. I know what's going on. There's something shady here. So bond is $1 million. Good luck trying to bond out. Your wife's at $1 million too. She already can't bond out, so I know you can't. Like, it's done. So Chad's next hearing is the first week of July. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. Lori's is the second week of July. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. It's like Disneyland just to see these two people just get fried. So I'll keep you guys updated. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe below, comment, like. I want to hear what you guys think as well. Thanks for joining me today in 10 to Life, and I will see you guys on the next upload in the next case. Bye.